And that breaking news, school and health officials in Sheboygan giving more details about a student with a case of tuberculosis at South High School.
Apparently one student tested positive for that highly contagious disease. Now, the health department initially said that they did not believe other people were at risk, or at least the general public. However, we did receive word that about 24 people were going to get tested for TB as a precaution. Typically, those would be people who came in close contact with the person who was infected. Again, that case at Sheboygan South High School.
And it is very highly contagious, which is why they are making this a serious situation. Here we go with the press conference. Let's listen in.
And what we'll be doing today is giving you an update in regards to the process we're having here in Sheboygan Area School District. Before we do that, we'd like to introduce the panel.
I'm Dale Hiffensteel. I'm the Public Health Manager and Health Officer for Sheboygan County.
My name is Jeff Britton. I'm a pediatrician at Aurora Sheboygan Clinic, and I'm the Medical Advisor to the Sheboygan Area School District.
I'm Jean Beineman. I'm a Program Supervisor with the Sheboygan County Health and Human Services, our Division of Public Health.
And I'm Sharon Don, the District Nursing Supervisor for the Sheboygan Area School District.
Again, thank you for coming. Well, we as the district, we're notified of a confirmed case of tuberculosis at South High School. And once we were notified of that, we've been working very closely with our Department of Public Health. And I can't thank them enough for their leadership as we are dealing with this issue. Yesterday, we sent home a letter to all South High School students, making them aware of our situation and where we're moving forward. And at that, I'll turn it over to Jean, explaining again the details of the processes we've been using.
Good afternoon.
Let's move the mics.
Okay.
Any closer?
I'm good. All right. As Joe indicated, we received information regarding an active case of tuberculosis at South High School earlier this week. We, as public health, are concerned about the health of the community, and we always work with community partners to minimize any risk of spread. We're happy to report that initial steps are going very well. We feel that the risk to the general community is minimal, if at any. And we are starting to work with the school population. We've got a single classroom that we're working with where the student attends classes, and we have been in contact with their families to indicate that we'd like to perform some blood tests to determine whether or not they might have been infected with the organism. I can back up just a little bit to tell you about tuberculosis. In Sheboygan County, every year we typically have several cases of TB. What's unusual in this situation is it's affecting a high school where there are lots of students. We recognize that people often know very little about TB, so we're taking a proactive approach to communicate with our community what TB is all about. At this point, I'm thinking that I will transfer this over to Dr. Jeffrey Britton to talk a little bit about tuberculosis and how it's spread.
These moving in.
Break. Want to unplug the other guys.
All right. So tuberculosis is a infection caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It is spread primarily through droplet, so coughing through the air. It's not spread through hand contact or contact with surfaces. It usually affects the lungs, but it can affect other organ systems as well. But most of the time it affects the lungs. There are two stages of tuberculosis infection. Most people who get tuberculosis get what is called latent infection, where essentially the germ is inside of you, but it's not causing any kind of disease at all. In those situations, your tuberculosis test, whether it's a skin test or a blood test, would be positive, but nothing else is going on with that bacteria in your bloodstream at all. In that situation, you're not contagious at all, but if we can treat patients who have that latent infection with an antibiotic, which can essentially cure them of that infection before it becomes active. If the infection actually, the other kind of infection is an active infection, so if that becomes the case. Then you can see additional things. If it's in the lungs, for example, there might be changes on a chest X-ray. You might start seeing symptoms, which are mostly lung-type symptoms like cough, fever, night sweats, weight loss.
Listening to a news conference up in Sheboygan where they do have a confirmed case of active tuberculosis in a student at South High School. It sounds like the updated information from officials, at least, is that there are no additional cases to report over this noon hour, and they are taking precautions to prevent the spread of the disease.
And they said the public shouldn't be alarmed, very minimal risk, but something they do want people to be aware of and, of course, take proper precautions. Now, if you like to